Hey everybody, Nakul here from SKILLS PTE ACADEMIC. Well, we have Mr. Raghuram today who has achieved 88 overall in the very first attempt. His exam date was on 11th Jan. And like Raghuram is right here. Raghuram, hope you can hear us.
Yes, Nakul, well and clear.
So hope you're doing well, right? 88 overall, very much well. Very happy, isn't it?
Yes, Nakul, thank you so much for the guidance, tips, tricks.
Great. So you had your test on 11th of January, is it? To 2025.
Yes.
That's like 10 days before,
Yeah.
10, 11 days before. Great. So this was the first attempt.
Yes, my first attempt.
And like prior to joining us, you had no idea of what PT is, or you had some idea about it from the YouTube or something?
No, not much actually, just a few things I heard from people.
That's good. That's great. Okay. So we have some, like 10 rapid fire questions. If you're okay, I'm going to start asking one by one. You can just, tell it the way you want it. Is it fine?
Yeah, sure.
All right. 88 overall, let me again read. 88 listening, 85 reading, 90 speaking, 85 writing. Maybe he would have gotten 90 overall only. We will ask towards the end why he missed out on few of the marks. The very first rapid fire question for Raghuram is, please show us how you read in the read aloud. If this is the question, how you would do it. You can take your time and once you're ready, you can start.
Society is a complex network of individuals, communities, and institutions that work together to create a framework for living. It is built on shared values, cultural traditions, and social norms that guide behaviors and promote harmony among its members.
So this is the way you read in the exam, is it? Same speed, same, like naturality, no fumbles?
Yeah.
And how was it possible?
This is just a lot of practice. I mean, the tips that you had given, the best advice I can give is like try to incorporate all of those tips from the first time you practice at home. Because if you think you can just do it your own way and then later change, the high pitch, the monotone, if you try to do it later, it won't come naturally to you. So from the beginning, however uncomfortable it makes you feel, just do it, trust the process, and do it from the beginning.
Great.
So it will pay off.
Great. It will pay off and it has paid him off as well. Fine, we'll quickly move to the second question. Okay, one more question. Did you even think of reading just one line?
Oh, no, not at all. We had enough time to read.
We had
And enough time to actually practice. They gave 35 seconds to practice so you can like actually read it once properly before you actually go for the attempt.
See, this guy, right? This guy has a very good reading skill. That's the reason he probably wouldn't even thought of reading one line. But what about those individuals, Raghuram, who really are struggling to read because the reading skills is very poor? So what do you think would be the problem, and what do you think is the solution for them so that they also can read like you?
Okay, I think the main thing would be practice. The more you practice, the more you will know where you're going wrong and where you can improve. It is if you're trying to, you'll find out things like are you struggling to when you read the next word? Are you fumbling? How can you prepare for the next word? Those kind of things in the 35 seconds preparation. Where I mean, the most important thing for me is like to find out where I can take a breath.
Great.
During the reading. So I see where the question, a comma is or the full stop is, and I prepare my mind to take a breath and naturally speak again, continue speaking.
Tell me one thing. You already had a very good reading skill, or you just developed it recently? Reading skill.
No, I think my reading was pretty solid, I think.
That's the reason I'm telling you. Yes, whatever the things she shared will definitely help you, but on top of that, your reading skills should be solid. This guy has it. If you do not have that great reading skill, that is also one of the things that you need to work on. For him, it was not the necessity, because all your life you've read the books, you've been reading, sort of things,
Yes,
right?
reading.
Yes.
A lot, yeah.
Reading a lot. So no one forced him to do it. And the PTE demanded this automatically, that was inherited within him, and it was very easy for him to get 88 overall in, just like this with our strategies. And the reading skills also play a very, very important role, like it did in Raghuram's story. Fine, thanks Raghuram for the wonderful answer. We'll quickly move on to the second one. This is the question, describe image. What was your strategy for not fumbling?
I think this was the only question I struggled a lot during practice because the tips that you share, right, it is for me, like when I say that my English is mostly good enough, I really struggle to accept the fact that the content does not matter because my brain will go towards speaking it properly.
Exactly.
I really so that's why I kept saying that try to incorporate all the tips and tricks from the beginning itself. Like force your brain to rewire if it needs to be done. Like that's what you need to do for this kind of question. It doesn't. Nakul keeps saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you speak. You just have to speak fluently. And and the only reason I trusted him because he was sharing scores, 90 scores, and people who have followed these tips. Otherwise, it was difficult to believe. Like, how can you just talk
Correct.
whatever you want and get away with it?
Exactly.
So,
So the core
yeah,
strategy here is not to worry about the content and also to convince your subconscious not to worry about it. Correct? Because subconscious is not easily
yeah,
be like convinced. Just when you
yeah.
say please focus only on the the fluency. The subconscious will not like listen to you immediately, right? It will take its own time.
And if you're someone who's worked with graphs and data before, your mind will automatically start processing it.
Process.
So you need to stop it somehow.
Exactly, exactly. So as I said, you need to rewire it to the strategies that are very much relevant for this exam. All right, which template did you use? Could you please shed some light on that as well?
Yeah, the I think the template that you shared for 79 plus, that is like the given image is a so and so, which uh, then it's like,
The x-axis talks about.
yeah, the x-axis talks about, and while the y-axis talks about, um,
It is
it
evident.
is evident that, and conversely, and
Another
another interesting
interesting
fact
point.
is that
So it's been 10
overall
days,
this
so
image
please allow him
illustrates.
some time to like recall the describe image template, guys. But yeah, so that is
Yeah,
help.
so once you practice all this, then I think this should come off
They
very
should come off.
naturally to you
Exactly.
in the exam.
So like no matter what, you use the same template for all the questions, right? 6, 7 questions.
Yeah, for all kinds of questions, I use the same template.
Well, that's the answer. But again, I'm telling you guys, you can use your own template, but make sure to speak something on your own. Or if you want to use my template, you can use it. Raghuram is the real proof. He has got 90. You also would get 90, but make sure not to fumble. Like I said, rewire the things to your brain so that you don't fumble. Focus less on the content. But yes, you need to speak something from the image. But fluency is the key. Thanks, Raghuram. Third question: did you add extra words and write from dictation?
Yeah, again, this is another thing that was difficult to believe initially. Nakul said it doesn't matter in which order you write the words, and it doesn't matter how many words, extra words that you write. It only matters whether all the words that they said are there in your answer or not. So, luckily, since my typing speed is good, I could type it quickly. But no matter what, after for every question, I had a standard set of words like and the
Great.
off from to is. Since my typing speed is good, like, I didn't mind including as many words as possible. Like you're not gonna lose anything. That's the thing. So, and another tip Nakul shared was like if you're not sure about the spelling, write 2 3 spellings and singular plural. That is something
Indeed.
which is important because you will miss the s towards the end. You might
Correct. Correct.
so that is there.
So you made sure to add approximately 10 plus extra words for each of the questions. Is that right?
Yes, consistently for all of them.
Okay. Okay, great. So it's still working. Here's the proof. So you can definitely add extra words. But know that simply adding extra words will not give you 90. When you add them, it should like make sense, meaning it should match with the words in the audio. If it is not matching, simply you don't get scores. I've seen many people like commenting to the video, I also added extra words, I got 50 overall. No, here Raghuram has added in a way that whatever he has added is matching with the question audio. Simply adding will not make sense. Please understand this. Thanks, Raghuram. Fourth question, quickly we'll move on. Reading fill in the blank strategy, please. Grammar collocation, did you really pay attention or you went with the context?
Um, most part it was going with the context,
Great.
but sometimes when you're unsure about your answer, maybe consciously thinking about the grammar, like most of for me most of it came like as I read what fit
Great.
naturally I
Great.
added. But for some things that didn't work out, then I would look at the grammar, like the tense, which would make sense over there. The collocation definitely helped. The collocation video, like for some usages, like whenever I was practicing the marks that Nakul shared, uh, the usages that I was not familiar with, I noted them down and I
Okay.
looked at them every
Great.
now and then. So
Great.
that helped.
All right. So what he meant was, for him, it was mostly context. Because few of the words, even if you go with grammar and collocation, that may not give you the full scores because you need to find the clue. So context always wins the race. But yes, grammar and collocation also makes a huge difference. In times where the context is not working, you can definitely rely on grammar and collocation. So having the knowledge of grammar and collocation will never go wasted. You need to have all the strategies within you and use it when required. I hope that's what you meant. Think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go to the fifth question quickly. What was the essay question, if you remember, and how did you plan it?
The essay question was
Industry.
that's
Okay, that's question. Great. How did you plan to do it?
so again. This I use the template as it is, the 79 plus template. So initially when I was practicing essay, I had to send it across. So till I got a 9 or till I got a 10, I kept sending. Then
Okay.
I practiced on my own. So what I was doing every day was, even though it is highly boring to do, I typed out the template every single day so that it
Great.
comes like so naturally to me. Like I don't have to
Great.
think about it. I can type it out fast.
Great.
So that was the first thing I did. So once you get the template right, in the exam, as the question comes, I didn't even look at the question. I typed the template. What I did was to not search for where the blanks are. I typed like 2-3 dashes so that I can get back to them quickly. So, and then after I completed the template, I saw the question, and one of the last advices I got from the teaching team was to improve your score, you can even write 4 to 5 complex or compound sentences.
Exactly.
So I started doing that as much as I could. I incorporated complex and compound sentences. Some tips that help here is like when you if you automatically start a sentence with even though, right, you almost know what to write after that. It
Correct.
gives you a flow.
Correct. You
So
would.
those things will help you.
Correct. I mean, like you'd end up writing 2 sentences instead of just a simple sentence.
Yeah, you'll find out things you want
Find
to
out
write.
things you
You'll
want to
find a way.
write.
Yeah.
Great. So how did you plan it? Meaning the idea generation? Did it come naturally to you, or did you plan it like, I will write about this, I will write about this, something of this?
If I can think of something that makes sense, I'll definitely go for that first. But otherwise, uh, uh, if I have two ideas but they don't go together, but I still need a compound sentence, I'll just string them together. It doesn't
Great.
matter.
Great. But you also made sure to write something relevant to the question, right? You did not go off topic,
Yeah.
as long as you remember.
No. And I try to use the question words as much as possible
Great.
to make
So
sure that they know that I'm talking about this.
great. So what people believe is, let me write a synonym, let me write some other word from the question. Don't try all these things like he told. Just do what he told. Just try to use the same word from the question so that you are very much into the question and not out of it. Correct?
Yeah.
Great, great. We'll go to the sixth question. Retell, lecture and summarize spoken text. How many phrases, if you remember, did your answer include?
When I was practicing, I try to go for at least 5.
Great.
But sometimes that does not happen. Sometimes I end up with 3.
Okay.
Or even 2, like while practicing, that has happened. But another tip that was shared was for retell lecture, not for summarized spoken text. If you are out of sentences, just use template and then repeat the same sentences
Okay.
in a different place. I practice that a lot so that I don't get flustered during the exam.
Okay.
So it's okay to like just say the same thing again, but in a different place in the template.
Okay. So even for summarized spoken text, it was like 3-4 phrases approximately.
Yeah, summarize spoken text because since the grammar and all that matters, repeating is not going to
Help
help
you.
much. So I try to write as much as possible.
Great.
So yeah.
So the idea is he wrote as much as possible, probably 4 to 5 or 5+ phrases for both written lecture and summarized spoken text. So if you guys are wondering how many phrases should I write to get a perfect 90, I would recommend you to write above 4 to 5 phrases for written lecture. For summarized spoken text, at least minimum 4 and above. If you can write and still have the word count between 65 to 70 would be an ideal one. Alright, Raghuram, thanks much. We'll go to the 7th question. How did you go about learning spellings? I'm not sure if you were already you had some problem, I'm not sure, but if you think you had a problem in learning spelling, how do you even think of going about it?
For the most part, spelling you can improve by reading because the
Great.
more you see it, the more you know.
Great. Photographic memory,
That's
visuals.
Yeah.
Impressive.
But the problem is, even anyone who's good in English, right? If someone comes and asks you what's the spelling for this, you think for a few seconds, you will
Exactly.
doubt it. So those things I started noting them down. Even simple stuff like dissolve that I've seen in my science class for like 4 or 5 years. During one of the practice tests, I got it wrong because at that moment you just think of unwanted questions, whether it is
Correct.
right or wrong.
Exactly.
So those things you note it down and then have a few glances at it every day. That will help.
And did you also manage to attend the spelling test in the course on an everyday basis?
No.
Okay.
I tried 2 or 3, but since I had to focus on other parts, I did not do this.
Okay. Okay. So the only way to learn spelling is by practice. That's what he meant. Many would think that like they're already good at spellings. So that's the major mistake. Whenever you get a chance to learn, write them down and learn, like he mentioned. That would be the greatest escape from not making mistakes towards spellings. Thanks, Raghuram. We'll go to the eighth one. Were you nervous in the exam, at least for the first few seconds or minutes in during read aloud?
I wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be because if you have practiced more and more, right? Hopefully, full length practice test, you would know what's coming,
Exactly.
and once you're into the exam, it's like clockwork. You know, this is next. This is next. Your mind is prepared for it. Maybe the initial few seconds before it starts, you're looking around, you're looking at others. That might be nervous, and the first time when you hear all of them speaking at once, that might be unnerving for a bit. But actually, the headsets that they give has quite a bit of noise cancellation that helps. So we don't have to worry much about that also.
Okay, so the answer is he was not nervous because he was confident. He, gave exam to see 90. He did not give exam to check if he gets 90 or not. Trust me on this. This was the scenario even for him. He was very sure. Then only he booked the exam. So idea is, you may become nervous only when you are not sure about it. When you are not sure of the exam. So give exam only when you are very confident that you would get that the perfect score. You definitely won't be nervous. The ninth question, did I really tell you that you would get 90 overall?
I think the first 1 or 2 days itself is like, oh, Raghuram, why are you doing this? Why don't you book the exam and finish it off? I did not believe Nakul, but okay. In the end, that's what happened. So,
Alright, so let me just play an audio that I sent to Raghuram on 27th November. I'm just reading it. So what did I say on 27th November? He actually joined probably a week before, around 20th November you joined us?
I think so, 2022.
Okay, let me just play the audio.
I'm not able to type along. I start to type, but it's going too fast. I stop typing and pay attention. Yes, anything that works. And Raghuram, you're all good. How about we take an official mock test and finish it off next week? You get 90 overall. What do you say?
So I told him in a week give, but probably he took 1.5 months to build the confidence. But I had the confidence in him that he would get it. Well, you are all good, Raghuram, actually, indeed. Yes, the last question for you. Your tips for students who are in the pursuit to get 90.
One more thing, since you were talking about the official mock, right? Unfortunately, the mock I booked had a fault.
Yeah,
and
indeed.
I couldn't really do it. Speaking was the one I wanted to practice more, but that glitched and then that speaking section entirely skipped, so I didn't do the official mock at all.
Yes.
So that was one thing I was worried about. But yeah, if you had practiced, you can do it.
Okay. Okay. Yes, you can get back to this question.
Yeah. So I think the best advice I can give is know where you're going wrong. The earlier you know it, you can correct it, and do it. So Nakul keeps saying, uh, don't do try to finish the videos as soon as possible and then start working on the questions. That is entirely true because I don't think that you can do listening first, then I'll do writing later, then I'll do reading, then speaking. You don't know which might give you a problem. So start doing everything from the beginning so that you know which ones you need to focus on, and you really need to get the feedback from the team to correct yourself, and then because if you keep practicing the wrong thing, that's going to really mess you up. To change yourself, it's going to be difficult. So the earlier you change and then incorporate and then do that from the beginning, it's going to be easier in the exam. It comes naturally. That's the most important tip I can give.
Great suggestion. And also one more thing I forgot to include. Did you skip choose single, choose multiple in reading, and choose single, choose multiple, select missing words and all those things in the listening as well?
Yeah, without a doubt, yeah, skip.
Okay, so that's the answer. You can skip them and still get 88, 90 overall. Fine, Raghuram, thanks. It's a wonderful talking to you. I really hope all our viewers also enjoyed learning from you. Thanks much and all the very best for your future pursuits. Thanks much.
Thank you, Nakul. Thank you so much for the guidance.
Most welcome. Most welcome.